Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 3D prints of the week, or the M3D prints of the week, the things that I printed in 3D this week. I've really got to put together some sort of an intro animation or something for all of these because it would just make it easier than being awkward like I'm doing right now. So if any of you guys are animators or anything like that, let me know. I would definitely be interested in having some very nice intro graphic stuff. But moving on. So to start things off, here in the US this week we celebrated Father's Day. I know in other parts of the world, I think it was last week, but to go along with this Father's Day theme, I noticed over on Thingiverse someone had a tie tack, or a tie clip, or whatever you want to call it. I was actually quite surprised with how well this thing works. I have not worn a tie in probably a month at this point, maybe more, but I was able to clip it onto a shirt. It holds a tie in place pretty nicely, and the design on it really isn't half bad. I'll make sure you have a link to this down in the video description. If you're needing a tie tack, this is actually not a bad option. I'm sure you could polish it up or shine it up, maybe even put a coat of clear coat on it to make it really shine and stand out. And it adds that little bit of nice geekiness to it, and it does have a little bit of flexibility, so it will fit onto a shirt and a tie pretty easily. But moving on, as you guys probably noticed, I did upload a video last week about the Pebble Time. I unboxed it and I've been wearing it ever since. And of course, what do you do with these smartwatches? You gotta charge them at some point, you gotta charge them somewhere. The Pebble Time comes with a charging cable, which you can put it on there and you can charge with it, but other than that, you can't really set it someplace. You can lay the entire thing down. So I found over on Thingiverse a stand to print for it. The stand took several hours to print, but it worked perfectly. I can just go ahead and slide this into it, and there you go. You've got a little charging stand for it. There's even a little piece that sticks out on the back if you want to reroute the cable around to the other side. It just bends around that way, and it stays in there quite nicely. I have charged it on here at least one time at this point, and it has worked out quite well for me so far. I also had a few of these little rubber pads left. I've used them on other things like other phone stands, and they're very handy to keep things from sliding across the desk. I picked these up at the local hobby store. I think they were like $4 for a pack of 10, so could have been better, could have been worse, but definitely a very useful and usable thing. If you guys remember, I'm big on the functional prints. And actually all the rest of the things I printed were related to this, the Xiaomi Yi camera. If you watch any of my quadcopter related videos, you may know that I've been using the Mobius camera. I mentioned in last week's printing video that I've been using the Mobius camera for a lot of quadcopter videos, but I don't like the fact that it doesn't do 1080p at 60 frames per second. So I got on Amazon and I picked one of these up. It was about $85, and it's got a little bit of heft to it, so I'm not gonna be able to put it on any of the quadcopters I have right now, but it has a tripod mount on it, so I can go ahead and mount it onto a tripod or mount it onto the tripod that I've got on my hat. But then I started thinking about it, and I looked around on Thingiverse, and I found a model for this. This is just a little case for the Yi camera. You just kind of slide it in, just like that. And it provides a GoPro mount. So basically anywhere you could stick a GoPro, you can now stick the Yi camera. And it does not have all the ports and everything exposed, so I'm a little disappointed by that. I can get to the power button, I can get to the capture button, I cannot get to the Wi-Fi button, I cannot get to the micro SD card, I can't get to the USB charging port, so I do have to be able to take it back out at a moment's notice just in case. And it does go in and out pretty easily, but it does stay in there pretty firmly as well. So I guess it's a little of this, a little of that. To go along with that model though, there was another piece, and it's a lens cap protector. I haven't really been using this all that much, but it is a nice option to have where you can just kind of push it down on the lens to give it a little bit of extra protection in case it falls or you drop it or something, so it's not gonna immediately just shatter the glass on the front. But additionally, I've seen some videos, other people using GoPros and things like that, and one of the things they really recommend is to use a circular polarizer if you're filming outdoors. It really makes the sky pop, it makes reflections go down and be more minimal. So I got on Amazon and I ordered a circular polarizing filter, but they didn't have them for the Yi camera, so I ordered one for the GoPro. Because silly me, I thought that the GoPro 3 and the GoPro 4 and everything had the same size lens, but as you can see, it very clearly does not. I'm putting this out there for the record, they do not mesh together. However, I looked back, and I probably should have done this ahead of time, I looked over on Thingiverse again, and there was the same kind of thing. Let me go ahead and take this apart and you can just see. There you go. This is the part that actually mounts on the camera. This is almost identical. You put them side by side, they are pretty much the exact same thing. This one looks a little bit rough. It didn't print particularly well. I'm thinking I'm on a beta version of software right now, and I'm probably gonna have to go back to a more stable version of software because I'm having issues with rafts and everything with this new version of the beta software. But what I did was I printed this out. It's specifically designed for the GoPro again, and I took the file to it and I filed it down. So now I can go back to my Yi camera, and with a little bit of force, it'll fit on there, and it'll be very, very snug on there. And it's not putting too much pressure on the lens, and it's quite usable at this point. Unfortunately, it doesn't really have the screw mount in here, so I can't really screw it in very well, but it does sort of screw into place. I mean, the threads on the filters themselves will do a lot of the work, But yeah, I gave it a little bit of a twist there, and it's on there firmly now. So I can take this little cap off, and I have a circular polarizer, so I can sort of fine-tune the images that I get outdoors. Now, the funny thing is, after I printed all this and put all this together, I was very pleased with it, but then I started thinking about it, and I seem to have remembered ordering a polarizer or a filter or something for a relatively small lens I had before. So I started digging around in my drawers, and I found a Polaroid ND filter. It's not a circular polarizer, so I didn't buy the same thing twice, but it's a 52mm, just like the one that I bought for this. And if I go ahead and take this filter back off, I should be able to screw it in here. I did test this earlier a little bit. Yeah, it screws in just fine. It actually screws in a little easier than the other. And now, you may be able to see this. Look how dark that goes. So if I wanted to, I can turn it down, and I don't know how useful this is actually going to be, but it's something I may test a little bit. But now I have this wonderful world of possibilities for using with the Yi camera, and all I had to do was 3D print this little mount for it, and it has worked amazingly well so far. So definitely be on the lookout for more Fly Day Friday videos. Instead of using the Mobius camera for all the B-roll though, I'll be using this Yi camera from now on, as long as everything goes according to plan. And hopefully I'll be using it with this little circular polarizer and the 3D printed piece here, maybe even my little GoPro mount if I want to mount it on something and have a lot of flexibility. It really just goes to show how many awesome functional things you can do with a 3D printer. But you know what? I think that's going to be about all from me for today. I do have another 3D printer related topic I may do a video on later in the week, but it's not really a Prince of the Week type thing, so I wanted to keep it separate. As usual, I'll have a link to where you can find all of the things that I've shown here over on Thingiverse, and it'll be down in the video description. Thanks to you guys so much for watching. Again, if you have any suggestions for things that I ought to print, let me know down in the comment section below. I didn't end up using any of the chameleon filament this week, but when I go back to it, several people suggested, and actually I thought of it myself right as I was uploading the video, that I should print out a coaster in that chameleon filament, so I might end up doing that for next week. But again, that's all from me for today. Remember to leave a thumbs up down below the video if you like this video, subscribe to receive more videos when they become available, and I will see you again next time.